Imagine that we're back in a position to where we're talking about the measles again. The measles is an issue.
Bring out your dead!
Currently, we're looking at about 223 kids and teens that have tested positive for having the measles. The other day was just around 200. We're up about 25 kids within the last few days. Now listen to this part. Almost all of the cases are in unvaccinated individuals or in individuals whose vaccination status is unknown, with 80 unvaccinated and 138 of unknown status, according to the Texas Department of State Health Services. At least 29 people have been hospitalized so far. And then, of course, you know about this one. A measles outbreak in the America Southwest has killed a second person, an unvaccinated adult. The fatality comes roughly a week after measles took the life of an unvaccinated child in nearby Texas.
Dad, I thought we were done with this.
This was the first death from the measles since 2015. Now, this isn't just relegated to America. It's popping up in Canada as well. And the crazy thing is, it's just one of those things that we should be past. There's a vaccine for this. But then again, you have people like Robert Kennedy that when he's pressed on the issue,
that love our country and are capable of loving the country.
There's a measles outbreak in Texas at the moment in which a child is reported to have died. Do you have concerns about that? And have you asked Secretary Kennedy to look into that?
Well, why don't we, Bobby, do you want to speak on that?
We are following the measles epidemic every day. I think there's 124 people who have contracted measles at this point.
So as of today, we're at 223.
Mainly in Gaines County, Texas. Mainly, we're told, in the Mennonite community. There are 2 people who have died, but we're watching it, and there are about 20 people hospitalized, mainly for quarantine. We're watching it. We put out a post on it yesterday, and we're going to continue to follow it. Incidentally, there have been 4 measles outbreaks this year in this country. Last year, there were 16. So it's not unusual. We have measles outbreaks every year.
Right.
Funny enough, that's what he said then. This is what he says now. So now we're officially linking the measles to poor diet and health. What's going on just makes what I'm about to show you even more egregious. This guy on TikTok talking about having a 14% vaccination rate.
Hey guys, quick video. I just walked into an MC Prep board meeting and there was these balloons and a surprise gift. I'm like, what's this going out? And I just found out, I'm a little behind on the news. I'm a little slow, getting old. But I just found out we are the #1 school in Texas for least vaccinations. And I guess the news got a hold of it and they were trying to spin it like it was some awful thing. But I just want to congratulate all of the family members of MC Prep that embrace freedom of health, and they're not allowing government or science projects to affect how you live and lead your life. I know the entire world was shut down with insanity and people were fired from their job for forced vaccinations, and freedom is something that we take seriously. Religious freedom, freedom of our health. And so shout out to MC Prep for being the least vaccinated school in Texas. We'll take it, or as Mercy Culture say, we celebrate it, we'll put it on the board.
So going back to the story, Mr. Kennedy claimed that it was very difficult for measles to kill a healthy person and that malnutrition played a role in the Texas outbreak. However, though, he did actually acknowledge the seriousness of the measles infections, noting that it can lead to death, brain swelling, and pneumonia. Now, him making that statement about malnutrition is a little bit vexing only because how do you explain that your boss, the President of the United States, just cut USDA for more than $1 billion in local food purchases for schools and food banks? You talk about malnutrition and the measles really seems to be hitting kids. But then at the same time, millions of children could lose free school meals as food costs rise. I'm just wondering, does anyone at the White House even think to coordinate even for a moment? You make the argument that food, diet, and malnutrition play a huge role into how the outbreak is spreading. But then the president makes a cut that would lead to food scarcity, malnutrition, and dieting problems. Look who's back.
As new cases of measles are reported across the country, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. is linking the current outbreak to poor diet and health, along with citing some fringe theories.
Couldn't be that actually in the places where the measles breakouts where they actually aren't vaccinating as much.
In a Fox News interview, Kennedy suggested measles vaccine injuries were more common than known, contrary to extensive research and facts. He claimed natural immunity to measles gained through infection also protected against cancer and heart disease, another claim that is completely not supported by any research. However, Kennedy did acknowledge vaccines, quote, do prevent infection, saying the federal government was helping to ensure that people have access to, quote, good medicines, including those who want them, to vaccines. Joining us now, NBC News medical contributor Dr. Vin Gupta. Dr. Gupta.
Where do we begin?
Please help us.
Please.
How do we push back, especially since this is the head of HHS? A lot of people are going to listen to this stuff and they're going to take it as fact.
And their kids are going to suffer.
Yeah, well, good morning, Joe and Mika. Here's what I would say. This is to those that might believe this. Here's what he's doing. And this is a playbook he's used multiple times. He takes his preconceived notion, he then misinterprets and cherry picks data, and he makes an outrageous statement, just like he did in this interview. And so when it comes to nutritional or poor health considerations in measles, what do we know? What we know is, as you said, one, the vaccine is incredibly effective, even one dose, at preventing infection, much less serious illness. Number two, the only thing that's been really documented here is vitamin A deficiency in places like East Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, where vitamin A deficiency is prevalent. And so in the case of a young child in those...
Hold on, just to read that out, it says the measles vaccination is effective. There's a link between nutritional deficiencies and more severe consequences from measles infections. A healthy diet does help lower one's medical risks.
Those areas, or even parts of Asia, where vitamin A deficiency might be common, yes, if they are exposed and infected with measles, what we would recommend is giving them vitamin A. By the way, in the United States, where vitamin A deficiency, Mika and Joe, is rare, the American Association of Pediatrics, still, regardless of severity of illness, recommends giving vitamin A to a child if they're infected. So this is a moot point. What's interesting and ironic here is that he's linking diet to measles and somehow that this is causative. It's not, as you said in the lead up, but that they already underfunded the Trump administration on day one, basically removed all funding through USAID for vitamin A repletion programs worldwide. So this is an issue that they're worsening, even though I don't think they're connecting the dots.
The more stuff I really listen to is the more I start to think maybe Bill Burr was right with what they're actually trying to do.
Coming out there, and if elected, I would implement a program to immediately eliminate at least 85% of you. This planet cannot sustain the sheer numbers. Let me finish.
Hey, I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm just saying they kind of are moving in that direction, though. Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, and I will see you again on the next one. Be easy, y'all.